Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of Star Jump Shipyard.
Oh,
this is a show
good.
where we take a detailed look at a particular Star Citizen ship,
This is pretty good.
discuss what is known,
Star Jump's bringing out this
speculate
new
on the
series.
future, and try to give you an unbiased assessment of where that ship fits within the verse, and possibly your hangar.
Yeah.
On this episode, we discuss the Misk Endeavor, the capital-sized modular monster that brings with it countless...
Dude, the Endeavor is my jam, man. Like, this ship is ridiculous. Look it up, read about it. The Endeavor is seriously one of my favorite ships in the game, man. So I cannot wait to talk about this.
Gameplay opportunities. There's a lot to get through on this one.
So
sit
good.
back as we deep dive the ship
good.
that has a cult-like following on this episode of Star Jump Shipyard.
Absolutely, absolutely static. Like, what it's going to be able
watch
to bring.
until the end of the video for a special
Predator
giveaway
mounts.
courtesy of Predator
Awesome.
Mounts. Let's
Trips
talk
everywhere.
about Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern. Most of the time, they are simply referred to as MISC. MISC is the only human spacecraft corporation to
Xi'an.
sign a Lend-Lease agreement with the Xi'an. That was agreed to in a closed-door meeting in 2910. MISC ships typically incorporate Xi'an thruster and gravleg technology as well as other design characteristics into the production of their ships. The Endeavor is concepted to be MISC's most prestigious capital ship. It has a focus towards heavy science and uses a modular design that allows the ship's owner to utilize an array of modules with different functions in order to tap into multiple future gameplay loops.
Everybody loves Splinter, too.
The Endeavor is one of the most unique ships with its ability to mix and match different modules in order to exploit unique synergies that give the player advantages in certain gameplay loops.
Awesome.
In terms of early concept imagery, we have quite a few images to show in order to fully understand the journey the ship took through the initial phases of design. The initial designs for the Endeavor were done at CIG's LA offices. In early discussions, it was mentioned that there was a lack of signature MISC design elements, and that was one of the major notes as the ship went through further iterations. It was at this point that the design shifted to Jim Martin, the artist who, up to that time, had done several other ships for CIG, including the Freelancer. This is when the Endeavor started to take on the more familiar look we all know, which was that of an explorer ship connected to a long spinal support in which various modules could be attached. Further through the concepting phase, considerable thought was being given to the specific modules the Endeavor would carry and how that modularity would work both from a technical and gameplay perspective. Ideas floated at the time were that of a zero-gravity laboratory, a deep space observatory, a zoology lab, operating theater, and even a defensive platform. At some point during concepting...
Basically, a mobile space station. I mean, the appeal of the Endeavor is just literally long-term out there in space. You're out there, and you're living the life. You know, and that's one of the reasons I really love this ship. There's a few others very similar to it. Not many, though, where you literally can live the space life out in space forever. Refueling, you know, obviously, you're going to be using Starfare. You're going to be using ships that are able to refuel in space. This type of thing. This isn't, I don't think, a ship that's going to be easily going into atmosphere down below. But, you know, that's speculation.
Tony Zervac mentioned losing the extension arms.
Also the same
this was a design tweak that further pushed the concept closer to what we are now familiar with.
Forever.
Discussions were had regarding having some of the modules, such as the telescope, look a bit more traditional in order to better communicate their intended function. In addition, it was mentioned in the early design meetings to have the front of the ship act as an explorer shuttle so that the crew can go off to more dangerous areas while leaving the module section of the ship in place. At this stage, there was a lot of experimentation with different modules, as well as module designs that inherently broke up the very linear look of the ship. One of Chris Roberts' notes, according to the Jump Point issue on the ship's development, was to use a more symmetrical layout of 2 to 3 pods. This was probably due to being able to plan for some sort of consistencies in module size and design in the future. From this point on, the basic concept design was finally getting to a good place. The primary focus was put towards figuring out the final list of modules.
It looks fantastic, doesn't it? The design of this ship and its purposes being multi-role. Like, I love this modularity concept they're coming up with. You're going to see more ships have this modular design because they're going to be able to make more revenue from these types of ships.
What the function of those particular modules were, and ultimately, what the final visual design of those modules would look like. Not only was the ship concept being prepped to go on sale, but various pre-configured module selections as well as an all-in-one master set were planned to go on sale as well. This was becoming much more than just a simple ship sale. It was actually several different variants of the ship as well as individual modules with separate pledge prices that were going to be sold. Okay, that takes us through the concepting phase. Now let's look at what the final concept sale looked like to us Star Citizen backers. Now that we have reached the point where the ship and its modules are finalized to the point where a concept sale can take place, it's important to realize that this is how the ship was sold at the time, and will definitely change as it enters production. The ship has a base variant, 3 pre-configured variants, a master set, as well as individual modules that make up its concept sale. Okay, so with any ship still in the concept phase, it's important to remember that these are just the currently announced specs, and that these are subject to change as the ship continues to move through the production pipeline. As a matter of fact, with the Endeavor being such an old concept, it's pretty much a certainty that much of the ship will in fact change, and probably in quite significant ways. CIG will most likely try to preserve the spirit of the ship and some of its high-level design.
I really hope they keep this design. Like, I hope it doesn't change too much. I noticed that as these ships progress from white box, into what they become, I want this base layer of design to pretty much stay the way that it is. I like the idea of being able to kind of piece and part your ship and make the ship you want. Right? I mean, like, especially on a ship this large with this kind of price tag on it, like, I want that level of customizability. I need it. If I'm going to pay that kind of money, I want to make sure that I'm getting the ship that I want and that it's going to fill the role that I want. One of the reasons I love the Endeavor is they try and like make as many modules that fit your style of gameplay as possible. It's a really cool idea.
Characteristics, but everything from the design language, module functionality and design, and even the ship's final size will most likely dramatically change once the ship begins its production phase.
It always does.
The ship consists of 3 sections. These 3 sections consist of the Explorer,
he breaks it down so
the
good. I love
workshop,
Star Jump.
as well as the drive section. The Explorer is a medium to large shuttle that can disconnect from the workshop and drive sections in order to explore dangerous areas that you don't want to bring your valuable modules into, or perhaps land on planetary surfaces. The workshop section is the long spinal support with which internal pressurized walkways exist that allow the connection of multiple modules and connections to the rest of the ship as well.
Absolutely.
And finally,
gorgeous.
there is the drive section, which consists of the primary thrusters, main engineering, as well as the jump drive.
Well, obviously,
let's get the Endeavor's current dimensions out of the way. The ship comes in with an overall beam of 48 meters, a height of 20 meters, and a length of 200 meters. While this is quite large, the current size is most likely not accurate, and we will address why this is later on in the video. Internally, the Endeavor is slated to carry in roughly 500 SCU of cargo, and is currently equipped with 4 medium computers, 1 capital power plant for the drive section of the ship, 1 large power plant for the Explorer cab, 2 large shield generators, 1 medium radar, and 4 large coolers. Once again, keep in mind that all those stats just listed will definitely change once the ship goes into active development. The Endeavor is slated to support a crew of 3 to 5, but with so much new game design having taken place since the Endeavor was concepted, this crew count will grow rather substantially. It's quite possible that just the engineering requirements alone will require 3 to 4 people minimum. From an armament standpoint, the Endeavor is never going to be a frontline fighter. The Endeavor is a heavy science ship and thus is very lightly armed, currently sporting 1 dual-mount size 5 weapon that is still yet to be determined. In order to get such a large and complicated ship to move, the Endeavor is equipped with 9 capital main thrusters, 4 capital retro thrusters, and 18 capital maneuvering thrusters. As mentioned earlier, the Endeavor concept sale was done in a unique way. Not only was the base ship sold, but there were also 3 pre-configured variants. In addition to this, all the modules were sold individually, and a master set was sold that combined all the modules and the base variant into 1 SKU. To get a better idea of what the concept sale consisted of, let's walk through each of them. The standalone Endeavor consisted of the base ship with no modules included. This would allow for the player to acquire modules through in-game means and allowed one to
My no-no
not be
spot.
locked down
I
in
love
terms
this
of
ship.
which
My no-no
modules they
spot's
ultimately
engaged.
decided to
I
get.
love this
The
ship.
Endeavor-based pledge
Not a
price
huge
was
Myst
listed at
fan, but the Endeavor,
$350. As mentioned before, the Endeavor
it
was
for me.
also sold in 3 pre-configured classes in order to allow the buyer to focus on
wow,
one
I didn't know you
specific
can get hit
gameplay
4
loop.
domes on that.
The
bad
first
boy.
of these was the Discovery class Endeavor. This class focused on science gameplay and came with the Service and Crew module, General Research module, and General Science module. The Discovery class Endeavor was sold for $425.
Man, I forgot.
The next
that.
pre-configured Endeavor was called the Hope class Endeavor. This class focused on fleet and troop support through heavy medical gameplay. It came with the Medical Bay and the Landing Bay modules. The Hope class Endeavor sold for $450. The final pre-configured Endeavor was called the Olympic class Endeavor. This class focused on agriculture and included a set of 2 biodome modules.
There's
The
a lot of
Olympic
work
class
that's going to need to be
Endeavor
put in
sold
this
for a
match
total
style.
of
You might be
$500.
right.
You could also pledge for what was known as the Master Set. This included the base Endeavor, as well as every module currently concepted. This included the biodomes, fuel module, research module,
Choo choo,
Science
anarchy,
module.
choo choo, bro.
landing bay, medical bay, service module,
By the way, anarchy.
super collider,
As
and
soon
the
as I get
telescope
paid, I'll be
array.
sending you a PayPal payment
We will
for the
go
work you
into
did
what
on
all these
Felix.
specific modules do here in just a moment. The master set with the
Thank you,
base
by the way.
Endeavor and all the
Good work,
modules was sold for $900. CIG also allowed for the purchasing of all the modules on their own so that you could have further control over which module selections you applied to your base Endeavor pledge. Let's get into what these final modules are and their pledge prices. We will deep dive each module in the next section of this video.
All right.
So for now, let's list out the modules.
I could talk about this all day. I really could, but I want you guys to go over there right now. I want you to subscribe to him. We found, I think Star Jump like 2 years ago. We found Star Jump, and let's see what he's at right now. I'm going to like this video as well. Let me send this link over so you guys can go DG360 Army on it. Go over there, comment DG360 Army. And help Star Jump out. Let's break him 10,000. He's almost at 10,000, guys. Let's get him up there. 9,950 subscribers. That's easy. We can make Star Jump hit 10,000 subscribers, like quite literally. In fact, we could probably do it right now. So go over there. Go subscribe to the man. There's a whole team over there at Star Jump. They're all great people. They're members of our community. And literally the type of content he's creating, not a lot of other people are doing right now. And I like that. Like, I want fresh content. He breaks down the ship. He models ships. He has streams completely where he's showing you all the parts and pieces and discussing them with you. Really great stream. Really great people. All great content. Go over there. Let's break them. Let's get them up over 10,000, shall we? Let's do it. We need to get going, and we need to do that now. Get over there. Get this man over 10,000 subscribers. He deserves it. He should have been over 10,000 subscribers a year ago, for God's sake. The type of content he's bringing is definitely original. Super appreciate the Star Jump team. Super appreciate the content. Keep it up. You guys are doing great, great work, and we'll break you over 10,000. We'll do it. DG360 Army, unite. Get them over 10,000. That's what we do here. That's what we do.